And going live. All right, and we're ready. Welcome back to Wastegate Wednesday, everyone, for the final episode before finals begin. Once again, I'm your host, Sean Urban, and I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a story time to start off this episode since last week it was Dover. Dover was the very first race that I went to. It was the very first NASCAR race. In 2013, originally at the time, it was called the FedEx 400, benefiting Autism Speaks, and started the race. Denny Hamlin was on pole driving the FedEx Autism Speaks car. It was a really good looking car. Had a lot of red and blue accents. And then the following year, I went to Dover I went to Dover in 2013, 2014, 2016, and then I went to the Xfinity race in Dover in 2017, the Cup race, which is 6. And then obviously the 7th one was the Coke 600, which I went to last year. And Dover's always been a really special race for me. It's the very first NASCAR race I went to. Is the one that's closest to one of the closest tracks to my house. Within 4 hours, there's New Hampshire up north. There's Pocono out west, and then down south there's Dover. Each are 4 hours away. But I'm gonna hopefully try to get out to New Hampshire this year since the race is on my birthday and have a little fun trip. And so the race at Dover, it was more entertaining this year compared to last year. Rain kind of got in the way with running around 79 laps. They had the red flag and the race was delayed to Monday at noon. And the racing was very interesting. When you add the PJ1 compound, which is like a resin that helps add grip to the track, it creates a single groove racing where they're single file the entire time. And when you let that track rubber in, Dover hasn't been repaved since I think 94 or 96. And I think that the track surface is starting to reach its peak where it eats up tires and it makes it more handling because more of effect. There's a lot of spins, particularly with Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, who Denny Hamlin has had a pretty up and down season so far. I could say the only highlight of the season was winning at Richmond, even though it was a five lap to go pass, and he's just had a lot of bad luck whether he's had races not got his way, because now he has to lose his crew chief. He lost his left front wheel coming out of the pits following stage 2. Chris Gabehart will and his tire changer will be facing a 4-week suspension, so he won't be. They will have the substitute crew chief for Darlington and the next 3 races after that. And so, yeah, Denny Hamlin has not had luck on his way, and even AJ Allmendinger, who's run pretty decently outside of Coda. He also lost his wheel, but ended up having to go behind the wall. And also going back to Denny Hamlin, Cody Ware spun and ripped open his I believe it was his right door. Yeah, his right door. And then they had to tape it up. And then Denny Hamlin's day was pretty much ruined. It was not a good day for him. But there was a lot of performances out there that I think were relatively underrated. I'm going to start off with Ryan Preece. Ryan Preece, who is running a part-time schedule, has to drive possibly the worst cup car in the field. Wheels it to 13th in qualifying, runs for the top 20, stays on the lead lap for most of the race until some trouble comes around, but he finishes in the top 25, even though it was 2 laps down. He ran a great performance, and it's where that they talked a little bit about Kevin Harvick during the race about, oh, we're going to have a solid day. Dover's one of his best tracks. Last year when Priest was announced that he was out of a ride, he announced that he'd take on the role of Stuart Haas's test driver. So it's either Al Mirola is going to retire next year, and half are saying is going to be Riley Herbst in the Xfinity Series. He has a lot of sponsorship money with Monster, so he's a likely candidate, even though his performance numbers are atrocious. But if Riley Herbst is going to stay down in the Xfinity Series, it's almost like they're beginning to kind of warm and groom that seat for Ryan Preece for when he's a little bit on the older side, but he's incredibly talented. He's a late model and NASCAR well and open wheel champion. And he's he today was a day where he outperformed his equipment at a talent-based track. It was a unique 1 mile. It was like Bristol, but it's a higher speed because it's a 1 mile bank concrete oval. And yeah, and then Corey LaJoy, who had a really solid performance running in the top 20. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who has run atrocious all season, wheeled it to second place. And if lap traffic played a factor, he would kind of chase down race winner Chase Elliott and would have gotten the win. And yeah, it was overall a really interesting weekend. There was a battle that was cut short from Tyler Reddick spinning, where Chase Elliott and Ross Chastain were side by side for almost 6 laps, where they just were taking the air off each other's tires and getting into the wheel well and just racing side by side the entire time. But then was cut short when Tyler Reddick spun coming out of 4. And then yeah, it was a very interesting weekend to say the least. A little bit compounded by very interesting Monday rather, since obviously it was compounded with rain. And so Darlington schemes are being released next weekend, and Fox has done a really interesting thing. Well, I think it's a really, really cool thing for the throwback race. They're adding all the iconic NASCAR drivers. So but they're going to obviously do Mike Joy and Clint Boyer, but they're going to split the third man 3 ways. So stage 1 is going to be the King Richard Petty. Stage 2, they're going to bring Bobby Labonte, who's the 2000 Cup champion, into the booth, and then they're going to bring Bill Elliott, who's father of Chase Elliott, who was the second father-son champion duo in NASCAR. And it's going to be a very interesting few weeks and a very interesting season over the summer. But this is my first year doing Iona Station. This is kind of what I want to do. I want to report for NASCAR stuff. And I think that this year has been a really great way for me to not only expand my knowledge, but to get more experience in a broadcasting field. I've been very dedicated to my radio or podcast, whatever they want to call it. And I've been really thankful that I've been given this opportunity to come on here every afternoon or morning and talk about what I love, which is NASCAR and the news. So for those who are watching, good luck with finals. And for those who are outside, have a great summer. And I will see you guys hopefully at the beginning of September. So good luck, everyone, and have a good day.